This is basically a smock design, and there are several things you can use this to do. I'll be taking you guys through the process of doing this, but first and foremost, I use this for a patch, elbow patch. You can use it for a pocket, you can use it for any kind of design, but on this one I use it for an elbow patch, right? This is what it's going to look like on the outfit itself. You can see just at this elbow area, that's where I put the patch. I'll be taking you guys through the process of drawing the grid and making this particular smock step by step. It's going to be a full video. We are going to do it and we're going to join it to this elbow all the way, gradually, all the way, step by step. So make sure you give the video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Right before we get to this stage, we are going to go back in time before we get to this stage at all. This is what the smoke design is going to look like before anything. These are the grids that I drew on the back before taking out the smoke design. We are going to like draw the grid together. We are going to draw the smoke design together. We are going to like do it together step by step. So without further ado, let's get straight into the tutorial and make sure you give the video a thumbs up. See, this is the right side of the fabric. Make sure you're working with the right and the wrong side of the fabric, and this is the wrong side of the fabric. Just in case, before we start, make sure you smash the like button. Why have you not smashed the like button? So right now, the first thing we are going to do is to draw our straight line in order to have a space in which we'll be working with. So I'm going to draw a line on the side on both of the edges of the fabric in order to have a straight line to work with. So let me focus the camera very well. You can see that. So I'm going to draw another line on this side. Make sure you straighten, like your fabric is straight very well. So you're having all of the lines on both sides. You can see that. I'm going to draw a line at the side. The design I'll be doing with this smock design, you guys are going to be amazed, and I'm going to be uploading a video on how to do that. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. There are so many videos coming up. So at this side also, I'm going to make my straight lines here. You can see, I'm going to make a straight line right here. You guys can see that. So now I want you to pay attention here. Now, depending on how wide you want the smock design to be, how wide you want your design to be, that's what will determine the space you'll be leaving on your fabric. So here I'll be using half of an inch for the space of the wideness of the grid that I will be drawing. I hope you understand that. For the wideness of the grid, depending, if you want it to be up to 1 inch, you can go for 1 inch. So here I'm going to zoom in the camera. I'm not sure you're seeing this very well. So I'm going to mark half of an inch on all of the side, all the way down. You can see that just here, half of an inch all the way down. You can see I'm going to mark half of an inch like that. I'm also going to mark it at the down part, so I'm just going to make a straight line. I'm going to mark it here also because the line has to like intersect one another. You can see that. And I'm going to also draw the same line on this side. So let me do just a few and show you guys what that is supposed to look like. Let me draw all of the, okay, you can see on the down part also I did the same half of an inch, so I can connect the half of an inch from the up to the down part. You can see that. So I'm going to do it all the way to the last hem of the fabric. You can see that I'm going to do it all the way down to the last hem of the fabric. So depending on what you want, if you want it to be wider up to 1 inch, you can work with 1 inch. But here, I want it to be small. The smaller it is, the beautiful design come out. That's why I decided to work with like half of an inch. That is okay for me, and that is fine. So you can see that the smaller the design, the beautiful it is. So I usually work with half of an inch. If you're doing for a female outfit, you should be working with like 1 inch. They like it to be puffy and obvious. You can see that. So I'm going to run another line. Make sure your hand is straight. This is very important. So I'm going to do all of the line all the way down. Then I'm going to draw the intersect line also, which is going to cross the first line. So let me do that and show you the final result. So this is what we're going to be having. You can see after drawing all of the line, this might take your time. Just take your time and just do it. The next one we're going to do is to draw the second line, which is going to intersect. You can see that just at this side. Start drawing your line. You can see that. And I'm going to draw it all the way down. so we can start the smoking with thread. You can see what that is looking like. See that? So this is what I'm going to be having. So I'm just going to draw all of the lines so you can see the final result. You can see here I'm working with 1/2 of an inch depending on which one you want, and make sure you're working with the right side of the make sure you're working with the wrong side of the fabric. Sorry, I'm making a mistake, I don't know. So this is what the final result is going to look like. This is the grid drawing. This is how to draw the grid. And I told you guys, don't forget, depending on the measurement you want. So now I want you to pay attention at this place. Very, very important. We are going to do the crossing of the grid, so you can know where your thread is, where your needle and thread is going to follow. So let me focus the camera very well. Let me zoom in. Okay, so now I want you to pay attention here. We are going to draw the first line on the first grid right here. You see that? And on the second one, you can just follow me step by step. You're going to leave a space between that, and you're going to draw another one. You can see that. You're going to leave one space on each side. You can see that. Leave a space, draw your cross. You can see that, just cross the line. You can see that part. And also here, I'm going to do the same thing. Leave a space and simply cross the line. You can see that's going to be in between. You can see that. Also here. Also here, you can see that. And you're going to do this all the way down, all the way to the down part. You can see that. You can see what I'm doing. The space between one grid that you draw, you're going to draw the second space at the side. Just follow this, exactly what I'm doing on the screen. I don't know how to explain all of this grid stuff. So you see the place in which I cross, in which I make a cross, you're going to leave that center space, and you're going to start the second grid right here. You're going to start your second crossing at this place. You can see, just draw it right here. You can see that. You can see that. You can see that. So you can see that I leave a space, I leave a line in between before I jump to the second one. And I'm going to do exactly what I did in the front on the second one also. So I'm going to come to this side and do the crossing. You can see that. Cross it, cross it, cross it. So you're going to do this all the way, step by step, till you full the entire grid on the fabric. You're going to leave that space also. You're going to start the second line. You're going to leave the space and start the third line, fourth line, fifth line, all the way to the last parts. So after this is what we are going to be having. You can see what I did all the way throughout all of the fabric. I leave a space in between. You can see here, I draw my grid and I leave a space, and I do the second one, I leave a space, and I do the third one, I leave a space all the way down. So this is what this is how to draw a smock grid depending on the smock design that you're doing, but based on the one we are doing here, this is how to do that. So the next thing now is to thread a needle. So right here in my hand, you can see that I already thread a needle, and I want you to pay attention at this place. It is very, 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 very important to click the like button and to pay attention. All right, so let's get straight into work. This is where the work starts. So right here, the first thing right here, the first tip, that place, you're going to simply pass a thread, and you're going to lock that thread. Listen carefully to what I'm saying. You're going to lock that thread. You can see that. So after lock, you can see, just lock it. After locking that side, the same thing you do on this first side is exactly the same thing you're going to repeat on all of the grid. So you're going to take the second grid, which is on the side. You can see here, you're going to take the second grid, and you're going to just at that side. You're not going to like draw that side closer, just leave that side open. Can you see this clearly? Like you're going to use that side to drag in this side and do a locking. You can see here, and when you look at the front side, you can see what I'm having. My grid is almost setting. You can see that. So you're going to do the same thing on the second line also. You can see what I'm doing. I've been recording this not knowing that I was not focusing on the camera, like my hand is not on the camera. So pay attention. Let me show you the aspect very, 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 very well. Like this side is very, very clear. So here, pay attention to what I'm doing here. I'm going to hold the first grid. Pay attention here. This first grid right here, I'm going to pin it. You can see. But I'm just going to release the thread. Look at me here. You can see I'm releasing the thread, and I'm going to lock that first side. You can see so that it's not going to be dragging to the second grid. You can see what I'm doing. I'm going to lock that first side. You can see that. And I'm going to I'm going to run the second thread on this second grid line. You can see that place. And I'm going to drag it together with the first line that I make. You can see what I'm doing. You can see that. Then I'm going to simply lock that both grids together. So I believe this side cam is more. I've been doing it and I wasn't showing the camera like it's crazy. I was so focused. Okay, so right here, I'm just going to pass just going to lock it. You can see that. So when you look at the front, you can see what I'm having. You see that? So you're going to do this all the way throughout the whole fabric itself. You can see what I have. So just continue doing it step by step all the way down. You're going to do the second one step by step all the way down. You can see that. It's not easy. You might find it difficult during the first grid when you're doing it, but as you go, you figure out how to like make it easier, and you can just continue doing it step by step. You can see what I'm having. I'm going to start my first grid here, and I'm going to lock both grid together. Your focus is to lock both grid together without locking it to the first grid that you locked. That's the main purpose. So this is what I'll be having after doing all the way down. You see that? You see what I have here? This is what I'll be having. It's not as difficult as you think. So I'll be doing the second line also. You can see what I'm having. You can see what it looks. That's the first grid. So I'll be doing the second grid also. You can see what I have at the back. So I'm going to focus on the second grid also. Then after that, this is what that is going to look like. You can see here. You can see what the back is going to look like. You see what I have. So I've did like 3 grids on this one. So I'm still going to do like all the way full. But so far, this is what you're going to be having. You can use this design for pockets, for chest design, for anything. So here is the smock design after finishing. You can see this is what we have at the back side. You can see that. So now all I'm going to do, the very first thing, you can use this design to do anything, whether pockets or anything you want to use to do on your design. So here I have to cut this into 2 based on the design I want to do. I believe you have seen the design on the introduction at the beginning of the video. So first and foremost, the thing I'm going to do now is to simply apply an interfacing to the back of the smock design, right? I'm going to apply an interfacing to the back. You can see that. And I'm going to give it a thorough ironing. I'm going to glue the interfacing. You can see what I'm doing. Make sure you stretch it up. Smock design can basically be used for anything, for female outfit, for male design, pocket design, sleeve design, hem design, anything. But here I'm going to be using it for a sleeve patch. The design I'm doing is basically a sleeve patch. You can see this. So just iron it down. Make sure it is glued to the fabric. See what I have. I'm busy. So you can see what I have in the front, how slide and how smooth it looks. So I'm just going to basically cut out the interfacing out of it. You can see. So if you had an interfacing to it before cutting it, you're not going to cut out the down thread. The interfacing is going to hold the thread and the fabric all together. That's why you have to add an interfacing to the back first before you simply do anything with the smock design. You can see what I have. So I'm just going to cut the fabric out. So after cutting the fabric out, you see what I have now. You see how smooth the smock design is. I'm going to fold this together. In case you want to do a pocket, you can just cut out the size of your pocket on this one. But I'm using it for a patch, so I need like 4 inches wideness on both sides, both the left and the right. You can see that. So here I'm just going to slide this, fold this together and cut exactly the same size. You can see. So what I have here, so these are the 2 patch design. So in order to get the angle, the cuff angle, I'm going to fold it together like this. You can see here. And I'm going to run a cuff at the edge right here because I want the patch to be cuff. Just like this. So what I have, just like this. So I'm going to tape all the edges round. Also this one, I'm going to do the same thing. Fold it like this, fold it together. You can see that. I'm going to cut out the cuffed parts. See what I have here. See that? So after that is done, all you have to do is just to simply cut a piece of fabric that you'll be using for the patch. So it's going to be a bias because it has to be, you have to be able to cuff the fabric. So you're not going to cut this in straight, you're going to cut it in bias, right? And after cutting, you have to fold it just like you're folding the piping of your neck. Just like you're folding the piping of your neck, you see that? And you're going to simply iron it all down. And you're going to do this. Fold the edge, fold both edge, like a piping of the neck. In case you haven't seen the video of how to pipe, a link will be in the description below to do that. We're just going to fold it like this. Then we're going to use it to do the turn up. So let me fold it and show you guys what the piping will look like before we go to the sewing machine. So here, you see what I have here. I did not put any gum inside of it, just like this. So I'm just going to place it this way from the side. And I'm going to open up, okay, just like this. I'm going to open up one side, you can see. I'm going to stitch it all the way around so that I'm going to use the fabric to do a turn up. So let's go to the sewing machine right now and do this. Just in case you haven't seen the video of the smock design, how to draw a grid and how to do all of this, a link will be in the description below, or you can just simply check the video gallery to get access to that. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do both sides. I'll take it to the sewing machine now and do both of the smock design before we run the patch. So now on the pipe, the very first thing you're going to do is to fold your pipe backward like this, you can see. And I'm going to place it at this corner, you can see that. Then I'm going to start my stitch, because that's what is going to cover up the pipe after we turn it all around, after we stitch it all around. So you can see what I'm having here. So I'm just going to stitch it all around. Just have to make sure your hand is straight while you're doing this. You see what I'm doing? You can see that. Just have to take your time. Don't have to rush yourself. You see that? So I'm going to stitch it all around to the last edge, and let me show you what that will look like. So after stitching it all around, you can see what I have. I have to stitch this over the fold in which we did before. You see here? So after stitching it over the fold, let me trim out the excess here. So I'm going to simply use this to overlap like this. You can see. I'm going to fold it backward, and I'm going to give it a thorough ironing so that I'm going to have something as balanced as possible. You can see what I'm having here. So if you're making a pocket, you can do your pocket like this. All you have to do is just to stitch it to your chest or gum it down very well so that it's not going to like overlap, and stitch it to your chest. So let me take this to the ironing table, and after ironing, this is what we're going to be having on both sides. You see that? So this is going to be at the ankle side. It's going to be a patch design. You see that? So here, all I have to do now is to basically get where I want this to be on my patch, which is and one is going to be on the left and the other one is going to be on the right. So you have to take your time to align that very, very well before you get where this is going to be. So make sure you adjust the measurement from the tip of the sleeve. I want you to have a space of 3 inches. From the tip, I want you to have a space of 3 inches. So that is going to be exactly on my elbow. You can see that. 3 inches. And from the upper part, I want you to have, from the fold at the center part, I want you to have like 1.5 inches. So all I'm going to do now is to basically stitch this all around. I'm going to stitch it all around the sleeve. And my outfit is done. All I have to do is just to join the sleeve to the bodice. You see that? So I'm going to take it to the sewing machine now and do the stitching and do the second sleeve also before we attach it to our bodice. That's the basic design. So after stitching it, you can see I actually hide the thread because I stitch inside the ditch, so you're not going to see the thread at all. It's going to be like, it's a patch design, so you can see what I have inside. So that's basically how to do the design. You see what I have here. So you can use smock design for anything. If you enjoyed this video so far, make sure you give the video a thumb up and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're yet to subscribe. And you have to get inspired because these are some designs that you hardly see people showing you how to. So that's about it. I hope you guys loved the video. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you've benefited somehow, some way from the tutorial. So don't forget to give the video a thumb up, and I will see you guys on the next video. There's a video on the screen right now. Click it and watch.